but here it is. Right after I had gotten married, I got this ring on my wedding day. It was pretty important to me. It represents my wife and our bond and our marriage, and it's important to her, and it should be important to me. It's a ring. I could lose this ring or not wear this ring. It doesn't change the fact I'm still married, but I love what this represents, this bond. I had a youth group. I was helping out our youth group in our church back at home in Daisy in East Tennessee, and we had a youth event one night, and we had to do some cleaning before we were going to go on our activity. And I had been working on a vacuum cleaner motor that night, and I'll tell you this quickly so I can be done. I've been working on a vacuum cleaner motor that night, and my finger couldn't get down into the engine because of the ring on my finger. So I took it off and I slid it in my pocket with my keys. And I went on working, got busy. Well, while I was working on that motor, somebody came in and said, "Hey, brother man, I need to get in the closet. I can't because the closet door is locked." And I reached in my pocket and yanked out my keys and chunked it to him. We went on working for several hours, and when it came finally time for us to go be able to do our activity, I reached down to feel my finger, and I forgot my ring. And so I reached in my pocket, and it wasn't there. And I got worried. I've only been married for like 2 months. This cannot be good. So I checked my other pocket. It wasn't there. I went and searched through all my desks, and I went and looked all over that vacuum cleaner motor. Then it hit me. I had it in my pocket with my keys. So I assumed when I yanked my keys out and chunked them to that teenager, my ring was wrapped up in some of those keys. So then I called all 60 of my teenagers together, and I was like, "Guys, I need help. We're going to have to form a search committee. I need everybody to check every square inch of this church, everywhere in the youth building, everywhere outside, all over the parking lot. I need you to help me find my ring." We spent the entire youth night, instead of going to our activity, searching for my ring. I started to grow desperate as the kids started coming to me like, "Brother Matt, we have looked everywhere and everything. We cannot find it anywhere in this place." And I said, "Well, did anybody take up the trash?" And one of my teenagers said, "Yes, that's what I needed your keys for, to come get new trash bags out of the closet." And I was like, "All right, where did you put it?" They said, "We put it in the dumpster." So I ran to the dumpster. I jumped up over the lid of the dumpster and landed down in there with all those garbage bags. And I started picking up a bag and started flipping it around to see if I could see it. I knew that wasn't going to work, so one by one I chunked every one of those bags out of the dumpster. They were landing on the outside, and I had the teenagers go get some of their cars and pull them around because it was starting to get dark, and I had them turn all their headlights on as I sat in trash bag after trash bag and ripped it open and was mushing through every bit of the garbage our church had collected for that week looking for my ring. I remember while I was sitting in a pile of garbage, distraught and very upset over losing this ring, I prayed and I said, "Lord, I know it's a thing. And it's not important to anybody else. But that thing means something important to me. And I ask that right now you either bring it to my mind wherever I set that ring, or else pick my body up, if you have to, and take it to the exact location where that ring is. God, I need a miracle. I need my ring." We have been looking for 6, 7, 8 hours. The teenagers finally went home. My wife started calling, asking, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" And I knew I got to break it to you. So I told her, I said, "Babe, I'm so sorry, but I've lost my wedding band." And guys, you know what it's like? You don't even have to see her face. And she can sound like everything's okay in what she says. But deep inside, you know she's broken. Guys, you know what I'm talking about? If she's sitting beside you, just do this. You know what I'm talking about. "Babe, I lost my ring. I can't find it." She said, "Man, it's okay. It's just a ring." I know that's what you're saying, but I know that's not what you're thinking. All right? I got up. I was destroyed. I went home. Ring's lost. Dad called and said, "Son, we can go to a pawn shop tomorrow. You can have a ring on your hand." It's just, I was like, "Dad, that's what everybody sees. They know I'm married. I waited 24 years to get one of those things." He said, "We'll go tomorrow. We'll get you something so you can have a ring on your finger." I went home. My wife was awesome. She was trying to do everything she could to encourage me and pick me up. My wife loves candles. She always has. We had a ton of candles given to us for our wedding. My mom on that Sunday had handed her a bag with 2 home interior candles on the inside. You know, they're sealed with those little funky tops on the top of them, those little octagon-looking like tops. And she said, "I've got a couple candles your mom gave me. I'm going to go get them. I'll turn them on for us, and we'll just spend some time together." I said, "That's a good idea." She went, she got the bag, brought it into the bedroom, popped the top of one of those candles, and screamed. And I said, what's wrong? What's wrong? She said, you're not going to believe this. I said, Ivy, what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. She said, Matt, you know I just got this from your mom. I said, yeah, I know. She said, you're not going to believe this. You've got to see what's here, what's in this thing. I said, well, bring it to me. And she brought me that candle, and I promise you, I'm standing right here up on this stage behind the Word of God, up on the Holy Sacred Desk. What happened? I looked inside the top of that home interior candle that was brand new, and there was an extra long wick sticking out of the top of that candle, tied around this ring I'm wearing on my finger. You say, what? You know what my first reaction was? I got angry. I said, you knew I was down there looking for this ring. You snuck in there, popped the lid off the top of that candle, and tied my ring up in there and brought it to me. She said, I promise you, man, I just opened that candle brand spanking new. And then I did exactly what you're sitting out there in that pew doing right this minute. I said, well, there's got to be another explanation. I picked up the phone and I called my dad. And as I sat on the corner of that bed, I had that ring and I was just twirling it in my fingers. I said, Dad, I have a question. He said, sure, what is it, man? I said, do you really, really believe in miracles? I said, do you really, I mean, do you still think God would do something, a thing like that, small and belittled and doesn't have any impact on anybody else? I said, Dad, do you really? He said, man, I believe with my whole heart. I believe if we believe that the Bible is true, I believe God can do anything He wants to do. He's God. I said, yes, He is. I know He can. I said, but Dad, I got to tell you the story. I said, Dad, you know what? I started crying. I prayed and I asked God if He had to, just to make that ring appear. If He couldn't pick me up and take me to where that ring was, to make that ring appear. And so help me, we opened the candle and there was that ring. And the first thing I tried to do was explain God away right out of it. The first thing I tried to do was take the victory God was giving me, the storm that He had brought me through, the fiery furnace, the lion's den, whatever you want to associate it with, the giant toe-to-toe. This was valuable. This was important to me. It doesn't mean anything to you still to this night. You don't care about this ring. And even telling you this story, you're sitting out there trying to come up with another reason why that ring was in that candlestick. Maybe, just maybe, God put that ring in that candle. What do you think? Maybe, just maybe, He heard my prayer and answered it exactly like I asked for. Maybe that ring came straight from the manufacturer in heaven. I don't know. You say, well, preacher, why don't you give God credit where it's due? I will. You can't take it away from me. That's what I'm telling you. When God gives you the promotion, when God gives you the victory, just sell it as God did for you exactly what you asked Him to do. Why do we get so excited? Why do we get so surprised? Why do we try to explain away the awesome power of the Almighty when He shows up and shows out doing something amazing like